Hello, guys, and welcome to the unveiling of the idea of the century. It is bold, it is daring, and it is going to revolutionize the way we are going to build our parks in the future. At least it is going to radically change the way I build my parks. And it involves our favorite bug that allows you to breed dinosaurs in the aviary hatchery, where, you go there and if you select filters new, and then you go back to the land hatchery and select a dinosaur there, like Acrocanthosaurus, and you go back to the aviary hatchery, it is still selected there. I can full on modify the genome and just breed it in there. And of course, this works with all the other hatcheries as well. You can release the flyers in the land hatchery, but it also works with the lagoon hatchery. So if I were to select new in the land hatchery and then go to the lagoon and let's say a breed select Chronosaurus and then go back there, I can modify the genome and everything, but I don't want to. This is just to show you how it works. And I can start synthesizing. But of course, the results are kind of strange. It's sort of ridiculous what happens because the marine reptiles just exit floating in midair. And once the exit animation is done, they freeze and they just keep floating in space and doing their little swimming animation. You can hear their cries, the sounds they make. You hear water splishing and splashing, and it's just ridiculous, right? What are you going to do with those floating marine reptiles? Well, this is the question that I have been asking myself ever since I learned of this bug. And then I just had the idea, and I don't know if anyone else had the idea, but I thought, what if we turn those into holograms? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have in mind that in the Innovation Center in the movie, there were holographic displays of dinosaurs. So this would even be canon if you did something like this. And I think it's all about the surroundings you give these flying, floating marine reptiles. You would have to add decorations to really pull it off, to really tell the story that they are a holographic image. And what I like doing is using the invisible fence for it because it has this ray of light running through it. And it works even better at nighttime. Of course, the animals are poorly lit, but this ray of light around it just sort of feeds to the story we're telling, that this is a holographic image and it is generated by this invisible fence. And what you can do also is use these bison lights. I did this and I think it really sells it. It also adds a really interesting element to it, I think. It's sort of like a cage, but it's a cage of light. And you could imagine that they are just holographic emitters. And you can even add a path under them, which I think if you do this, it really just puts them into a different context. I feel that immediately it doesn't seem like they are floating in space when there's path underneath them. But this could be some sort of exhibit piece in a museum, right? But it moves and it makes sound and you hear water. So I think this sells the idea even more that this is a hologram. Okay, so why would you do this? I think it would add a unique, attraction to your lagoons if you recreated the creatures you have in there as a hologram just in front of it. Instead of a flag or just informational panels, You combine them with the animal in there, and you can pretend that they give explicit information about the specimen you have in there. And you can add a plaza around it so that people can walk by and really have a look at it, and even decorate it with fountains or, flags and signs and stuff. And I just think, especially in front of the lagoon wall, they just get situated in this scenery where you immediately know that it's not a real creature. It is a replica of some sort. And the fact that it moves and that you hear sound, it is clear that it has to be something artificial. You can even pretend that it's a puppet, but I prefer the holographic idea. So I am really interested to know what you guys think about this. Do you like this idea? Have I gone completely bonkers? Are you going to incorporate this? I am so interested to know what you guys make of this. I think it has lots of opportunity to change the way we build our parks. But there are a few things you should know. For example, you need to plan ahead if you plan on doing something like this, because, of course, you need to place your land hatchery first and build around the creature that appeared from it. And just take a little time and think about what you want to do, and then have a plan. Something else you should know is that the Mosa and the Tylosaurus take a little dive right after their animation, and they just disappear into the ground. So this just feeds actually to the first thing I said. You need to know a few things. You need to plan ahead, because you would have to dig down to make them reappear. If you want to place them in front of your lagoon, it's really no big deal, because you can just dig down and use the lagoon walls as a backdrop, which is kind of nice, I think. But you just need to keep that in mind. What you also should keep in mind is that, for example, the Tylosaurus, it freezes in this weird angle, but if you save and reload, it will be completely horizontal again. And all the other creatures, if you release them in, well, let's say a school of ichthyosauruses, they will freeze on different height levels, right? They will end up in this lovely little cluster of ichthyosauruses, but they too, if you save and reload, they will end up on the same level, and sometimes some creatures will end up really close to one another, maybe even clip into one another. So yeah, you will have to keep that in mind. Also, they will do their swimming animations completely in sync, which adds a little, well, an interesting, I don't know, it's anyhow, which leads me to the next thing you should absolutely know is that if you want more than one creature in your display, be sure to release them at once. They should come from one batch, because if you release them one after the other because you want certain skins or something, they will just end up in the same space, and they will just be a clipping nightmare. So yeah, this sort of limits you a little bit, but you can, of course, if you want certain skins, like I wanted all the bioluminescent skins of the Styxosaurus in my exhibition that I'm going to show you at the end of the video. So I had to make specific skin selections, and so I placed three different land hatcheries, and which led, of course, to the fact that they are quite separated from another. But, you can decorate the surroundings of them. I went to create like mock nature surroundings with rocks and plants and stuff. In the end, it seems like the three of them belong together, and they are just swimming a little bit apart from another. And which leads me to the last thing you should know, that is the hitboxes of them. because, well, the path goes under them. It's no problem at all. But all the other stuff, yeah, you will have to keep your distance. The Mosa has an awesome hitbox. You can get rocks even under her tail. But others, like the Ichthyosaurus, for example, you have to go really far away from them. So I got the feeling they all have the same hitbox. And for the Mosa, it's just really small. And for other smaller creatures, it's really big. So you will have to fiddle a bit to make this convincing. But I think the rewards are worth the trouble. Because, well, as I said, the lagoons just aren't cutting it for me. There's just something missing. Maybe if they had glass walls or something. So when we sink down the train, you can look into them, you know, like a big aquarium or something. This would be so much better. But here goes for wishful thinking. I want to see my creatures, and I feel like this is the opportunity to see them in their full glory and colorfulness that some of them have. So again, I'm excited to know what you guys think about this. I went on to build a whole open-air exhibition of all the marine reptiles we have in this game on the Germany map at the beach. And I built this structure with the monorail rails for the entrance, and put an attraction at the beginning, a VR attraction. So you could pretend that people have to put on VR goggles to see the creatures, or that what you see when you put on the VR goggles is complete marine surroundings. And, I tried a few different approaches to set them in scene. Some have rocks, some have nothing, some have just invisible fences, some have fountains, some have the bison lights, and some are embedded in this rocky environment. And at the end of the whole exhibition park, I added an aquarium. And I pretend that after you went through the holographic exhibition, you enter the aquarium, and it leads you under the ground into glass tunnels where you can experience the animals, the real animals, in this natural lagoon we have at this lovely beach in Germany. Because, I feel like this beach section, it so screams for you putting an aquatic section there, but it absolutely makes no sense for me that we would have to place lagoons right at the beach. If they could just wall it off, a section of the beach underwater, so they could keep the animals in a natural habitat instead of building these pools. So I prefer using my imagination, and I created this exhibition. And I think there are many more ways to incorporate this in your park. You could even, create an entrance to your lagoon section with this holographic installation that shows off a few creatures that you are going to see in the lagoons, and to make it just a little more grandiose, everything. It's to make it a little more special and exciting. As excited as I really am, and I'm really excited to know what you guys think. Please tell me, and if you like this idea, tell me what you're going to do with it. Thanks for watching. I really hope this gave you some inspiration. And if it did, please leave a like, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Have fun with the game and with this bug. Bye.